Meantime, we're seeing new video of the morning TriMet employees may have helped save a rider's life.
And that team of employees is also being honored. Today, TriMet shared video from the early morning hours of New Year's Eve. Portland fire officials say firefighters were called for a 43-year-old man experiencing chest pain on the bus. Fire officials say a paramedic helped treat the man for 20 minutes. But still no AMR ambulances were available. Instead, the bus driver worked with firefighters and drove the man to the hospital with a fire truck, clearing the path for the bus. This morning, the team of TriMet employees involved were honored.
When the fire department asked us to transport him, Hassan was the voice of reason. I was the voice of, let's just get going. We do what we need to do when people need us. Always. Every driver that I have met in TriMet, every supervisor, every manager, every dispatcher would have done at least as much, if not more than I did. I'm not a hero. I'm just a guy doing his job.
Without the help of Joe, I mean, Joe could have just said, no, I'm done. I'm just going home, you know. But without Joe, that guy would have been, maybe we saved his life.
The TriMet Board of Directors praised the employees for going above and beyond the call of duty and gave them, as you can see, a standing ovation.
Back in November, local managers of the AMR ambulance fleet in Multnomah County told us they would be about 60 paramedics short at the start of this year. AMR and Multnomah County have been at odds in recent months over ambulance staffing issues and how to solve it. AMR has criticized the county for requiring 2 paramedics on ambulances as opposed to AMR's preferred model of 1 paramedic and 1 less qualified EMT, which could allow paramedics to be more widely available across Multnomah County. At the time of the TriMet bus incident, Multnomah County said AMR is responsible for determining the necessary staffing to meet its needs.